Uh, Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depends where you are. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our second showcasing session on environmental projects. Before we start, I just want to draw your attention to some technicalities in this platform. In case you have any question, you can write it down on the question and answer tabs on the in your in your right hand, and please don't forget to mention to whom you are directing the question. Um, our first project to showcase its results, its WASC project. Please let me invite to the stage Dr. Saed Khayyat from Palestine Technical University of Khadouri in Palestine and Dr. George Zames from International Hellenic University in Greece. Please, the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Welcome to WASC project. My name is Saed Khayyat. I'm a professor in water sciences. Also, my colleague is George Zames from International Hellenic University. I'm from Palestine Technical University, Khadouri. We are researchers, and in one stage, we want only to shift from research work, from the science toward more educational or practical educational in water sciences to cope the challenges in the water science and to cope the climate change effect on the water resources. That's why we go to WASC project to promote water security and socio-economic development at long-term indicators. We already have some indicators from the market through our relationship, through our new programs, through exploiting our knowledge in this field, and try to be always dynamic in the novel water education by the programs we already established. What is new in this project? The dynamicity and novelty. We consider the climate change and we connect all the time the market needs with the projects and project activity and education. We collaborate with the public organization and private companies in the water sector. So we are researchers from Greece, from Spain, from Netherlands, from Jordan, and from Palestine, also from Cyprus. So what we are trying to do here, we emphasize in the Eastern Mediterranean region, especially in Jordan and Palestine. We consider water as essential for the welfare and the growth in the region. And we have the most sensitive area that is susceptible to the climate change problems due to raising of temperature and lowering of precipitation in different seasonal time. That's why we will consider the Middle East as whole as the thirstiest or the thirstier region in the future. That's why we are shifting from our scientific research toward more educational practices, trying to exchange our experience as researchers, as scientists, and find system solution with our partners in EU countries. That's why we try to build such a program that based mainly on technology transfer, creativity through ideas exchange, and system solution through student exchange, also exchange the innovation in educational method between Jordan, Palestine, and European countries. We start, so I will leave the speech to my colleague, George.
Thank you, Said, for the nice introduction. So in order to accomplish this goal, we thought the first step would be to do some preparatory activities. What did we want to do? We actually wanted to mine stakeholder views. So we had an online questionnaire where we asked other researchers in the region about what the current curricula are in the Eastern Mediterranean and in the EU, and also how we could enhance collaboration between university and enterprise in water sector, because this is a major thing we want to do in our EU master's program. In addition to this, we reviewed 71 curricula from the EU. Now, a key component for our courses was innovation. We want innovative technologies. In addition, we wanted blended learning. This is before COVID. So we had this idea of blended learning before COVID started. On top of that, we want to change our teaching style. We want to use new, innovative pedagogical and learning techniques. And in order for all the partners to have the same type of courses and to build similar courses, we had a tuning workshop that was organized by the Open University of Cyprus, which is a leader in these type of courses. After all this, we had the different innovative courses that we chose. Some were the classical ones like water quality, integrated water resource management, hydrology, hydrogeology, water and wastewater treatment, which is very important for the region. We had a more innovative one, which was climate change, because nowadays you have to think about climate change. In addition, we're in a region where there's a lot of small countries, there's a lot of transboundary basins, so we thought it is essential to have a water policy and governance course. And then we had two innovative new courses. The one is the Water, Energy, Food Nexus that we're all hearing more about, and also entrepreneurship and innovation. We want our graduate students to finish to be able to use. Once we did all these courses, then we put them on the virtual learning platform. This was developed by Al-Quds University. All our courses right now are on there, and they can really facilitate distance learning. Here are some of the front pages and the print screen, so people can use it. And I think it was an innovation in the region when we first started it, and I think it has a lot of future. We've also been able to exploit these through a VLP. So in one of the courses that was done with students from Jordan, we had professors from Just University in Jordan, PTUK, Palestine, Greece, Cyprus, and Amsterdam all teach these students. It was a blended learning, and I think they really enjoyed the course. So this has been also another success. Finally, the other thing that we want to do is have students have on their committee people from different countries. So these are four of the topics. The first one is biological treatment of the wastewater from pulp power industries using anaerobic digestion. But in these committees, we have professors both from the EU and from Palestine and Jordan that will give, we believe, a student a better education.
So finally, all of these steps are constructed and established. Even the curricula, the intended learning outcomes, and all the structure of the curricula is totally connected to the market. That's why we have established WASIC network meeting, WASIC network who meeting each 6 months. So they suggest their inputs upon the market needs and sharing their ideas. That is very important to the vitality and to dynamicity of the courses learned, whether in the master programs or within the educational system. That's why we have started this educational system with the market. We exploit our courses. We make some training courses for the enterprises, and also we established a joint mastery program starting in Palestine between Al-Quds University and Palestine Technical University, where we exploit a new mastery program called Water Science Innovation, and it's really established on some innovations, ideas resulting from the brainstorming and ideas of the students from Jordan and Palestine. We make some testing activities. We exploit the courses. We make testing workshops with the enterprises, with the stakeholders in different aspects of water quality management, climate change and water sustainability, and also water, food, energy nexus, which we consider the most hot topics in the water. Our dissemination activities is published, whether in the social media, on the websites, or as a newsletters. We have now 6th newsletter. Also, we have the project website where we announce all our activities in, where the people from or the specialist engineer and related peoples from different stakeholders, institutes, from water enterprises join our activities and try to exploit their knowledge through the testing workshops and the workshops or trainings that we did within the projects. What we have learned in these projects that the partnerships is very important. The multinational approach in science and education is very important. That's through the collaborative efforts. The interdisciplinary in the water science to cope the real problem that we face due to the climate change is also important, and also the transdisciplinary also the same. Utilizing the best practice through exchange our knowledge and technology with Europe is very important in this project, and it was really key issue. And we have really find cost-effective solutions through the ideas of the students who are joining this program that is really effective and environmentally friendly solution. Thank you very much. We will leave you now with a short video to show you the rest of our project activity. Thank you. Asma?
Yes, I'm trying to play the video. Yeah.
Yes.
Welcome to WASEC Erasmus project. The aim of the project of WASEC is strengthening the water sector, water security in the Middle East countries, and developing a new socio-economic situation, especially in agriculture and water sector in the Middle East. This project is funded by European Union through Erasmus program, and with a partnership of local universities in Palestine and 5 different universities, mainly from the European Union.
Since launching WASEC project in February 2019, partners from Arabian Union, Jordan and Palestine consider WASEC as dream for all. The main achievement titles were a new innovative educational approach and a new technology-based material that simulate the current water problems in the Eastern Mediterranean region through strong relation between academia and enterprises. They were assuming that both targets will finally produce high-skilled graduates with high competencies that cross the borders and large distance between lecturers and students. Such WASEC graduate is more attractive to be hired in the local enterprises and stakeholders and institutes. 2 management meetings and 6 bi-monthly Skype meetings were more than enough to produce 9 knowledge domains, from which 9 master courses with full material have been derived. In the late of March 2020, global pandemic has been started in Jordan and Palestine. Participants find themselves under strict closure conditions where all dissemination and workshops activities have been cancelled. The tuning workshop in Cyprus was one of the activities among those cancelled. Partners find themselves in front of big challenges. Shall we stop, postpone, or continue? Then the decision has been made. The original idea of the project was establishing an innovative blended learning tool, and it's time to test it under those contingencies. Therefore, online tuning workshop has been successfully implemented using Open University of Cyprus platform. Afterward, WASEC Virtual Learning platform has been finished and all material have been uploaded, through which the WASEC platform is ready for the next step. This was the startup for more action where successful network meetings have been implemented online in Palestine and Jordan, and in which feedback from local enterprises and stakeholders on the course's content have been taken to improve the curricula and educational process.
Hello everybody, my name is George Zames. I'm an assistant professor from International Hellenic University, which is a partner in the WASEC project. Currently, the WASEC project is utilizing the VLP platform it has developed, along with the courses that have been uploaded. The use of these are to be able to have joint lectures between partner universities. Specifically, right now, we have students, master students, from the Chemical Engineering Department of the Jordan University of Science and Technology that are attending the water quality course that we have developed. In this course, we have lectures from 3 different countries, from Jordan, Palestine, and Greece. This is providing the students a more holistic view on water quality problems about the Mediterranean.
Nowadays, joint master courses using WASIC VLP and developed courses is starting up with joint lecturing between different partner universities. Master students at Chemical Engineer Department are practicing WASIC water quality course with 3 different lectures from Jordan, Palestine, and Greece. A new joint master program using WASIC tools has been accredited, and most of the newly developed curricula has been also accredited in Jordan. Moreover, many future training and courses activities that targeting the local industry and the stakeholders' staff will be conducted with the life cycle of the project. Despite the global difficulties, WASIC continues and sustained to be major title for the challenge and for the brilliant achievements.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Said and Dr. George. Now we will move to our second project, which is Edu Biomed. I will invite Dr. Salma Talhouqa from American University of Beirut and Dr. Majd Abu Dagher Kharrat from University St. Joseph in Beirut. Both are from Lebanon. Please, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Okay, welcome to our Edu Biomed session. The project title is Capacity Building for Education and Applied Research in Mediterranean UNESCO Biosphere Reserves. A biosphere reserve is an area of conservation, area of interest to conserve, and it's an area of experimentation. How can we promote harmony between man and nature in a given area where we can flourish as human beings and yet at the same time conserve nature? So the aim of this project, please, can you stay with the first one, please? First slide. The aim of the project was working with biosphere reserves, universities, institutions, communities, was to develop a circuit of knowledge. How can we strengthen the relation between higher education institutions and the wider socioeconomic environment of biosphere reserves? Next, please. Our consortium consists of universities in Lebanon and Morocco and Spain, and partner biosphere reserves in France and in Lebanon and of course in Morocco, and also partners from Italy. Next, please. So the questions when we started this project, the question was how to engage universities, how to orient academic activities towards, and how can we interest universities to work and think and study and research issues related to biosphere reserves. So the first thing we did was to measure the knowledge gap. We conducted a survey to develop an understanding to what extent there is knowledge about biosphere reserve and what are the capacities of universities to actually conduct research and teaching and outreach activities related to these biosphere reserves. The other thing that was clear was the need to promote interdisciplinarity, because the biosphere reserve is, it's the whole, it's life, it's living within nature. So you require all the disciplines to contribute and find solutions. We organized the World Cafe to develop research and education agenda in biosphere reserves, in the Mediterranean biosphere reserves. And we are in the process of exploring the different curricula that are offered by the partner universities and to see how we can align and create synergy between our respective programs. Next, please. And so we were successful, at least I'm not giving, I'm talking only about what we have achieved so far in Lebanon. The project is very large to discuss in 10 minutes, but this slide is to show how successful we were in engaging different disciplines. So not only ecosystem management and nature conservation and science were involved, but we were also able to involve architecture, computer science, media studies, chemistry, civil and environmental engineering, economics. So we were able to attract faculty members and students from different departments to tackle different topics related to biosphere reserves. Next, please. The other question that we tackled is how to align with the needs of biosphere reserves. So on one side, you have what the universities can offer and are interested to do. But on the other side, it was important to also understand what are the needs, immediate, medium, long-term needs of biosphere reserve stakeholders. That would be the managers and the community that is living within the biosphere reserves. And so we define the problematic of the territories. We identify stakeholder needs. Next, please. And based on this understanding of the needs, we developed either course activities, projects, outreach activities, research projects to tackle immediate needs, medium-term, long-term needs. So for example, here you have one example that shows how we engage with biosphere reserve stakeholders to optimize traditional recipes. We worked with them to empower women, provide them with economic empowerment, and we developed marketing campaigns and strategies to raise the visibility of biosphere reserves and help the biosphere reserve managers. Next, please. The other challenge that we had and that universities could offer if they leverage their know-how was to communicate biosphere reserve. And so we did this at 3 levels, at the level of the policy. And here what we did is we conducted a review of policies to see where are the gaps and how we can include the concept of biosphere reserves in environmental protection. We we produced an ebook that will be published soon, and we developed MOOC capsules that tackle different aspects of biosphere reserve. So the ebook that will be published is called Réserve de biosphère et objectifs de développement durable, enjeux, articulation et tension en Méditerranée. And this is a compilation of chapters contributed by the different partners. With respect to the MOOC courses, we have 28 capsules, and they tackle, again, different dimensions so that we can explain to a general audience and to students and to schools what a biosphere reserve is and the advantages of biosphere reserves. We also benefited from IT tools because it's very important that we broaden the outreach of biosphere reserves. And in the project, we developed a phone application that promotes the engagements of citizens through citizen science activities. And we developed a digital platform that would promote collaborative research between managers, researchers, and citizens in the Mediterranean and the biosphere reserves. Next, please. So this is an example of the phone application that is due to be out very soon. So here, as a citizen, I can search for projects that are happening in the biosphere reserves, and I can make an observation and submit any photo or documentation that I find. I can follow projects, browse and follow projects that I enjoy. But also as scientists and biosphere reserve managers, I can tell the citizens what are the projects that I have in mind and how they can be involved. And I can provide them with training sessions and reading material, and I can communicate with them and tell them the findings, relay to them the information. So this tool, this phone application, is going to be a tool between, on one side, scientists, universities, and biosphere reserve managers. On the other side, these two entities with the larger community, with scientists and the larger community. Next, please. The other digital technology that we developed is a website that aims to promote collaboration and information sharing between Mediterranean biosphere reserves. So what are the ongoing projects in the Mediterranean? How can we share funding opportunity? How can we work together as researchers, as managers? How can we introduce our projects to potential partners? How can we upload our projects, our research papers? And so this is a platform for us to communicate and share and grow together as stakeholders of the Mediterranean biosphere reserves. Next, please. Magda, it's yours.
Thank you, Salma. So as Salma said, these are just part of the Lebanese contribution, Lebanese university contribution to the project. Because as we said in the beginning, there are a lot of different other activities that we will not highlight here. In the framework of this project, there are mobilities that were foreseen, but because of COVID-19, only few international mobilities were done. So we focused more on local mobilities. So students from St. Joseph University of Beirut and from American University of Beirut were moving to the Biosphere Reserve, and this is where they applied all the research that Salma talked about. So more than 250 students were involved, and a lot of teachers from the two universities. So here, for example, one of the sites, which is Jabal Musa, they have very nice archaeological discoveries. And they are showing, in the same time, they are doing the real work on the ground. They are showing their material, and they showcase how things really goes in the ground, and how they analyze material afterward in the lab. So this kind of project will show people how valuable is the material they have, their cultural and natural heritage is important for them, in the real time. One other project is focused also on shepherd, for example, where students did some interviews with people around the Biosphere Reserve, where grazing is like a kind of controversial, since people want to benefit from the Biosphere Reserve without, and the other side, the reserve manager don't want them to graze a lot in order to have a kind of equilibrium. So this is a very sensitive project, for example, where the students of American University are trying to have the both views and presented in a documentary. This is also a project where students from landscape and architecture are trying to develop new trails and new entries for the biosphere, and where the community can test this using virtual reality. Also, in these biosphere reserves, some more fundamental studies like biodiversity inventory are taking place. One of the projects is focused on mushroom, where students collect and identify mushrooms. From one side to do a kind of DNA barcoding analysis, molecular analysis, but also this will document a database. And they also developed a field guide for the mushrooms in the biosphere reserves. Some students also focused on interaction between species, where they will develop also a communication around this. So here we can see a lot of students during their field work. So these field work are involving students from different discipline, like from science, but not only, from social science, from multimedia and cinema. And in fact, here we have, for example, students from the Faculty of Science and students from IESAF, so a Centre for Audiovisual Studies, where they accompany some plants during all their life cycles. So they will go every few weeks and take pictures and photos from the plant, and then develop small short videos that will be displayed on the databases. A new trail also was done to shed light on discrete plants like mosses and ferns. And here we have like kind of work on the field, developed video, but also some lab material where we show the beauty of these hidden plants. So this kind of things were very interesting for the students, but also for the community, and we are developing some communication materials that will be used by the Biosphere Reserve for their visitors of different ages. So as output from EduBiomed project, what is really very, very nice and very important is to bridge the gap between these two communities, the higher education community and the Biosphere Reserve, where, as Salma said, we are trying to find our natural lab as scientists or as a higher education person in the Biosphere Reserve, while also replying to the needs they express. So this is our presentation for EduBiomed project.
Thank you, Dr. Salma and Dr. Majida. It seems to be very interesting projects. Now to our last project, which is entitled Cabaret. First time I pronounce it like carpet. I will invite Professor Richard Haya from University of Huddersfield in UK and Dr. Shandada Siriwardana from University of Moratawa in Sri Lanka. Please.
Thank you very much. And yes, I'll briefly give an introduction about the Cabaret Project. And Cabaret stands for Capacity Building in Asia for Resilience Education. And then I'll hand over to my colleague, Dr. Siriwardana, who will talk about some of the benefits to him as an individual, but also to his institution and also as a country. Now, the project focused on promoting international cooperation at the regional level, so particularly as the EU defines it in terms of Asia Region 6, and the focus was around improving multi-hazard early warning for disaster risk, and also increasing resilience among coastal communities who are exposed to various different types of hazards, whether it be tsunamis, cyclones, coastal flooding, sea level rise, and so forth. And underneath that was around building capacity, fostering regional integration and cooperation, and also strengthening relations between universities and society, the wider economic and social environment. Now, the project was conceived back in 2015 at a time when the big global agreements around climate change, disaster risk reduction, and sustainable development were signed. And of course, many of you will be aware that these agendas are very much at the forefront of global challenges in 2021. And of course, next week we have COP26 starting here in the UK. Now, within the Sendai framework, one of the key global challenges, one of the key targets of the Sendai framework was around the increasing the availability and access to multi-hazard early warning systems. But we also, so that kind of policy alignment was very important. But we also had a lot of engagement with other actors. For example, we had representation on the tsunami early warning system in the Indian Ocean. And we engaged a lot with these kind of groups to understand some of the problems around early warning, particularly in late 2014 into 2015. So there were a lot of meetings in building up the proposal. And some of the key challenges we identified, alongside supporting implementation of these big global agendas, was around the need for greater sustainability of early warning systems, because there's a lot of ongoing maintenance and financial costs associated with them. The need to move from a single hazard perspective, so for example, just focusing on tsunami or flood risk, to moving to a more multi-hazard warning system. But also to promote regional collaborations, because it was recognized that some countries were falling behind. There was a lot of, the capacity for early warning varied a lot across the region. The need for a lot of multi-stakeholder and multidisciplinary engagement, and also a focus on the last mile of early warning. And if I can explain that the early warning process is very complex. So if I take for tsunamis, it starts off at a regional level with very complex technologies and understanding of the physical geography around hazard detection and forecasting. But that threat then has to be evaluated and decisions have to be made. There's a lot of governance challenges associated with that at the regional and the national levels. And then there's a kind of local process of disseminating early warning messages and preparing communities to respond. So there's evacuation planning. So it involves, to solve that kind of complex challenge requires a lot of different engagement by different scientific disciplines, and also by a lot of different stakeholders from the regional level right the way through down to the national and local levels. Now, in order to address these sort of challenges, we put together a consortium of 15 academic partners across 5 different Asian countries: the Maldives, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Indonesia, and the Philippines. And these are all countries that face disaster risk at a very high level, are highly exposed, different challenges, but there are also common elements. They all have large coastal belts, for example. And we put those together with some European partners representing different scientific expertise across the UK, Latvia, Bulgaria, Spain, and Malta. Alongside that, we also had associate partners. So IOC UNESCO, the early warning system, they coordinate the Indian Ocean tsunami warning system. We had the Asian Disaster Preparedness Center, who are a big regional NGO, and also local government authorities, for example, in Sri Lanka. So to make sure that we had that kind of close connection with end users. Now, when we started the project was awarded in late 2016, and we had our kickoff meeting in February 2017, and we all met in Sri Lanka. And then we followed with a series of meetings and workshops, capacity building workshops that took place across Spain, Sri Lanka again, Myanmar, the Philippines, and also Indonesia. And typically these workshops attracted about 70 or 80 different participants. Now, we built the project around addressing these global priorities in the Sendai framework, the Paris Agreement, and Sustainable Development Goals. But the major focus areas were around improving multi-hazard early warning systems and increasing disaster resilience in coastal communities. And we identified 5 key objectives around building capacity, developing an innovation hub, developing a roadmap for regional cooperation, conducting multidisciplinary training, and creating partnerships with socio-economic actors from the university perspective. And we identified some key capacity gap challenges around different areas of multi-hazard early warning and the role of universities in addressing those challenges. So from an education perspective, from an advocacy perspective, and also in terms of knowledge development. And to give you an example, one of the key areas of activity was around an innovation hub. So we had the different sandpits, special interest groups that were developed. And these are very much formulated by the partners themselves. So we didn't set these out in the proposal specifically. Some of the early project meetings were used to identify areas of common interest that would address specific challenges at the regional level. And they carried out training workshops, joint projects, staff exchanges, and develop research proposals around those 6 different areas. But more broadly, we had a lot of capacity building. So we had an analysis of the capacity gaps and looked at a capacity building framework to help to address those gaps. We developed regional position papers and national position papers that set out those challenges. We had education and training. So, for example, 400 participants across the capacity building workshops. We developed educational courses, so some MOOC type courses for multi-hazard early warning. We had a lot of representation at conferences and keynote addresses. And we developed a series of policy dialogues and policy briefings that were designed to inform policy at the regional level. And we also developed some secondments. So we had some exchanges that took place between socioeconomic and socioeconomic actors. And the project finished in January 2020, fortunately just before the pandemic hit. We finished with a major international conference in Indonesia that attracted about 180 delegates. And it was a good way of sort of finishing the project and engaging with a lot of policymakers. So I'll now hand over to my colleague, Dr. Sriwardana, who'll talk about some of the benefits from the different sort of perspectives.
Thank you very much, Professor Richard, and thank you very much for giving me the opportunity as well as making me a partner of this project. So please move on to the next slide. So as an individual, I was a young academic who returned back from Canada after my PhD, and then I was looking for opportunities at Sri Lanka, and then happily my Professor Hettiarachchi got me partnered on this project. So it was a great opportunity as a young academic who has just joined the Department of Civil Engineering to be part of this great Erasmus Plus funded project. And with this project, I had the opportunity to travel to many countries who are having similar issues just like us. For example, Indonesia, and their disaster management center, and also Maldives and Philippines, as well as Myanmar. And as Professor Richard said, we were part of one of the sand pits. So there we had the opportunity to conduct community surveys as well. So at the same time, throughout this project, we had the opportunity to publish our information in world-reputed high-tier Scopus Index journals, as well as in conferences. At the same time, we got the opportunity, since we were partners of this project, I had the opportunity to work on this International Tsunami Day drill on 2020, and then I was the national observer for this the National Tsunami Day event. Also, I was a part of the multi-hazard early warning symposium organized as a part of disseminating activity of this conference of this project, and is a national-wide symposium. I will talk about that in a little later. And that symposium also I was part of that, and got many sessions. I got opportunity to share many sessions as well. As the institution, University of Moratuwa got the opportunity and then visibility in many events and many conferences as well. Also, thanks to this project, we were invited to be partnered with another 2 Erasmus Plus projects, which is Beacon, again Professor Richard and the are partnered with, and also another project called Brite. Also, there is another project going on at the moment called BEC, and all. At the same time, we as the academics, the researchers got the opportunity to enhance their capacity to learn more about the region and experience the different disaster risk management practices in the other part of the region as well. So it was a great opportunity to for the to the University of Moratuwa as an institution. So when it comes to the country as a Sri Lanka in general, so we actually throughout these publications we were able to understand the gaps and challenges in this focus area of multi-hazard early warning. So we have, as I mentioned, through these publications are well received by the Disaster Management Center and all these national agencies, and these these publications they have taken them seriously, and then they are trying to bridge these gaps. At the same time, with the Disaster Management Center and as with the other national stakeholders, we were able to organize this very large, very multi-hazard early warning international symposium, and there we were able to bring key stakeholders in this multi-hazard early warning, and we were able to invite and publish many good research in as a conference proceedings. At the same time, we were able to have this our agreements throughout these days. We called it a Colombo Declaration, and we all the stakeholders in this multi-hazard early warning came together and then agreed upon certain items that we will be going to follow in the near future. So we called it the Colombo Declaration, and it's initiated through this Cabaret Project. And also from this conference proceedings, the editors were invited, the authors were invited to work on the book chapters, and then that book chapter was book chapters, a collection of book chapters was published as a Springer book. It's called Multi-Hazard Early Warning and Disaster Risk. So these are like, from this one project, we were able to get many benefits individually, as well as to the institution, as to the national country as a whole. And this information is publicly available. So if you go to this website, cabaretbuildresilience.org, still this information is there. And I am again very much thankful for the leading project partners, Professor Richard Haig, as well as the Erasmus Plus for giving us these opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your presentation. I just want to remind the audience that there is a lounge outside this session, and you can share information or elaborate any issue you want to discuss. Even if you want any contact, you can go to the lounge and launch a private table, so you can unfortunately we cannot give contact information on this session. Okay, is there any question? Please post it in the Q&A tab. If not, I want to ask a question for Professor Richard. Okay, we have see the impact of participating in this project at from the Region 6 point of view. I just want to ask, I'm curious to know, is there an impact for you as an individual by participating in this project?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way the Erasmus Plus projects are conceived for these capacity building, that they do focus on the benefits to the Asian partners, but actually we get a tremendous amount. I mean, from understanding the nature of some of the challenges, the research challenges that they're facing in these particular countries, in terms of actually engaging with different actors from these countries. So we're actually able to meet, meteorology centers, government agencies and the like. I think there's a whole benefit as well around the internationalization of our curriculum. So we can actually bring some of these case studies and examples and incorporate them into our own undergraduate master's programs and so forth. So it's a tremendous benefit to the European partners as well. But I think it's just that maybe in the reporting we often stress the Asian
Yes.
benefits.
Yes, yes.
I would see it as a two-way transfer process rather than a kind of one-way capacity building.
Yes, yes. This is what I want to hear, because I worked in Erasmus Plus project, and I know the way it's affect both countries, the program or partner countries. It's as you said, it's both way benefits. Thank you, Professor Richard. My second question is for WASC project. Dr. Said, as a project grant holder, are you with us? Okay. Oh, Professor George. Okay, if you have the chance to change anything in the project proposal or implementation, what it would be and why?
Let's see. I think the main problem we've had is because it's much more easy to accomplish things when you meet. So I don't know, you can push people more, it's more interactive. Although we were lucky enough to have this meeting, but I think what we would have done is maybe start earlier the online process. I think it took us a while. Of course, then it forced us to do it, but maybe have earlier on this whole online process and workshops. Again, it forced all of us who are in academia to learn. We used it for a year and a half. Now we're doing it again regular, but I think that would be one of the things, and we actually sort of did it, but we should have had planned maybe earlier. I think we waited maybe a little bit longer than we should have. So that's one of the things that I would have probably tried to do earlier on in the project. We would have done earlier in the project. I cannot hear you, Asma.
Okay, so the advice for all projects is to start early as much as you can.
I think even activities that are follow-ups, it's very nice to start earlier, even some preparatory activities, because it helps you. And I think this is one of the reasons we've got an extension now. So we were supposed to finish November 15th, but we've got an extension. So this might be one of the reasons. So.
Okay, best of luck, Dr. George.
Thank you.
My third question is for Project Edu Biomed, Dr. Salma and Dr. Majda. Okay. I saw a lot of hands-on experience. Okay, with the student, they went to the bioreserve and they had the experience the bioreserve by themselves. I want to ask if you notice a change between the students who have the opportunity or benefited from this project with other students. How does how does the project impacted your student?
I can tell you about the students that were most impacted, in my opinion, were those that came from
maybe I can begin replying that we wished we could take all the students we want to the Biosphere Reserve, because it was really a very nice opportunity for them. I saw some of the students who go to the Biosphere Reserve, who participated in our program, discussing with their colleagues and inciting them, and I got a lot of new students who want to go and to do the same. But because of Corona and confinement, we couldn't bring all the classes or have many people going together. So we were going every time like small groups and different cars, etc., to comply with what the government was asking us to do. So of course there is a huge difference, and this is something we encourage all people to do it, even outside the project. So when the project ends, we will continue to do so.
And I just wanted to add that the students that were the most affected were those that came from other disciplines that had nothing to do with biospheres.
Lebanese are happy people. Okay. Okay. If anyone wants to add last word, a last comment, a last maybe advice for the audience who will participate in the project in our next phase of Erasmus Plus, please unmute yourself.
Yes.
Feel free.
I want to suggest that we have to seriously think of communication aspects of the project, because as researchers and applicants, we think of the project and what we want to achieve, and we don't really invest effort at personally, I mean, even if you have a partner that is communicating, but personally and internally within the institution and within the country. So it's important that there is a work package dedicated for internal, local, national communication with dedicated people to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Salma. Any other comment? Maybe our co-host, Dr. Latifa Dadawi from Neo Morocco.
First of all, I would like, thank you, Asma. I would like, first of all, to thank all the projects and this beautiful showcasing that gave me personally the possibility to know more about other projects that I don't know. EduBiomed is one of the projects that it was monitored by our office, and I could say that it's very beautiful underground, more than what it was shown in the presentation. And this is, I think, the beautiful thing in those Erasmus Plus project, as Professor Richard Hay have said. Sometimes we are very limited on those reports and 10 minutes presentation, etc. But I really want to say is that these projects underground, the impact on individuals is just relevant, beautiful, big, as it was shown, and the testimonials of Dr. From Sri Lanka. But and for the institution as well, the impact is very interesting. And that's why I would like to say, maybe to the newcomers, just be inspired by all these projects. And for sure, the NEOs will be there to help and promoting ourselves. But for sure, that what is beautiful also, and I think the fair is reflecting it, is that today we have a community. We have an Erasmus community everywhere, and this beautiful events is just showing it. So everywhere we could find someone that could help. So please, voila, come to this beautiful, I think, dynamic. And there are a lot of advices that we could give, but here to switch it will be short time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Yeah, welcome. Thank you, Dr. Latifa, for this inspiring speech. And we hope this session inspired you for the next phase of Erasmus Plus, and maybe you can contact on the launch to have maybe an ideas for new projects. Thank you all. Best of luck, and bye-bye. Bye.